Hello and welcome to yet another edition of the Hockey Republic. I stopped paused for a moment to think where I am because I confuse things sometimes. And
Mhm.
today we are privileged to have, I call him a gentleman because he is indeed a gentleman. Two gentlemen with me today. The usual culprit, Saimo, who's on my left side of the screen, and Gusharan Singh Lal, a legend par excellence.
Mhm.
We were joking off
Mhm.
there that Simon and I are the only two young men who've never played for karate, and probably now we should consider in our old age to go and and now play for that club.
Probably we wait until we get to the masters qualifying age, and then we can
Yes,
play for karate
then we can
masters.
play for. Yeah, me, I know I have
Mhm.
a few years to go. I don't know how many years you have.
It all depends on God. It all depends on God.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That
as
is
I
long
am
as I'm
self-belief.
alive.
73. I'm
Sure.
73. I got a few years to go too.
Mhm.
But Lal, you've already qualified for it. But anyway, I know we'll get to talk about that. But for those who may not know who Lal is, who is Lal?
Um, I can only stake claim to be a hockey man. The full name is Gursaran Singh Lal, and it's a strange happening. I got into hockey quite by accident. At age 7, I used to collect stamps. I believe it's called philately, the
Okay.
hobby. And I picked a stamp where I saw a 1956 stamp where India apparently had won the Olympic gold medal, and they sort of dedicated that stamp to two Kalasingas like myself, who were running around with a ball on that stamp. And from that day onward, my desire to play hockey and represent Kenya at the Olympics became, you might say, an obsession. I thought, this is my game. So then I stopped collecting stamps. I started playing hockey. Then, up to now, that's all I can stake claim to have done. I'm not a rich man, but I do hockey.
That is nice. So after you
Mhm.
saw that stamp and your desire for this game came about, where did you first go and did you get to know where to play this game?
We had people around in Eastley, which
Mhm,
now we have polluted to call it Isli.
mhm.
Yeah.
We had a lot of people. We had a lot of people playing hockey there, and I
Sorry,
joined
sorry,
some of those
sorry. I'm
older
laughing.
guys.
I'm laughing because sorry, Lal. I'm laughing because I was like Islay. Where have I heard of
Yeah,
that name? And then when you say
yeah.
this silly, I'm like,
It's now called Isli. It's been polluted throughout the years.
okay.
We had neighbors playing hockey. I had an uncle who was quite keen as a sportsman, and he used to do hockey.
Mhm,
So I joined him, asked
mhm,
him to teach me a few tricks. And in those days, the focus wasn't so much on coaching. You had to watch people play and learn.
mhm,
Today, everything is coaching, coaching, coaching.
mhm,
And from there on, began my journey to represent Kenya at the Olympics.
mhm. Which field was this that you started playing the game?
There was a community center in Eastley,
Mhm,
and we had all kinds of people playing hockey there,
mhm,
and joined them. And they had a field. They used to play football there too.
mhm.
It's near the old Eastley Secondary School. It's now called Eastley High School.
Ah,
Mhm,
yes, I know where it
mhm,
is.
That
mhm,
community center is still
mhm,
available. I mean, still there, but they don't do any sport anymore. So I
Mm,
started playing my hockey at that community center field, and then
mm,
uh, I don't know. I was destined to be some kind of a leader in hockey.
mhm,
Within about 6, 7 months after I started,
mhm,
the community center decided to hold a tournament,
mhm,
and I raised the hockey team of
mhm,
11 young people,
Mhm.
and we actually reached the final and we won the tournament.
Wow.
And we beat older people. We were age 7 to 9, and we beat guys who were upwards of 10 to 13. We didn't get our trophies because the senior guys, the older guys that we beat, actually took the trophies off us and even robbed us of our hockey sticks. It's an anecdote I have been meaning to tell this whole world throughout my life. In fact, guys, I'm doing a book on hockey. I am 90% of the way through. I will get a book done, and then I will send you copies, and then you can read all of this in that book.
Looking forward to it.
But at least today you're going to give us tidbits of that, your hockey journey,
Sure.
even
Indeed.
Some spoilers.
Yeah,
Indeed.
let me hand over to Simon as he finishes.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys, for your comments. I'm seeing Peter Setera is saying Chairman Nairobi Hockey Association. Thank you, Peter, for commenting. And then we have Indapal Tak who's saying Gushiran Lal, uncle, water hockey player with karate axiom. Let me start there. You've given us a short, brief history of how you started playing hockey,
Yeah.
but why the name karate axiom?
That also has nothing to do with the sport of hockey. As I grew older, I tore a muscle in my right thigh. So for a while, I couldn't play hockey. So I decided to join Karate Axiom to learn to do karate. Actually, I am a third Dan brown belt karateka also.
So we shouldn't mess with you.
I guess so. You have to make a choice. And then what happened was some of the colleagues that were at the karate club, they knew I used to play hockey, and they asked me if I can assist them. They had started playing hockey at High Ridge Teachers Training College, and they asked me to start coaching them. And what had actually happened was the High Ridge Teacher Training College had some men and ladies playing for them, and these guys who were my colleagues at the karate club had a hockey match against them, and they lost to the ladies. So they asked me to coach them, and I started teaching them hockey. I limped along the field. I used to wear a little bandage on my right thigh, and that's where it all started. And then within about a couple of weeks after we started training, we organized a rematch. And this time, the teacher training college actually brought in men only. And I played my first match for Karate Axiom, and we beat them 3-0. And immediately after that, everybody there said to me, no, you will carry on playing, and you will be our captain and coach from now on onwards. That's how it started.
So that's a good starting point in terms of how you started the hockey club, and we've seen many young guys who are now elderly, as well as some young guys playing for the team as well. So whenever you see karate playing in the KHU leagues, how do you feel, despite the performance, putting the performance, the results aside, but having karate still to date, 2022, playing in the league? How does that make you feel?
It is my dream child. For as long as I live, and for as long as my son lives, for as long as my son-in-law lives, for as long as some of the boys who are now taking up serious hockey at karate live, there will be Karate Axiom in this world. So it was my dream child, and we worked very hard early days. We started playing so well, we started winning tournaments. We used to challenge the then giants called Sikh Union and Khalsas and Sarali Sports Club. And it's been a dogfight throughout, but believe me, it is something that I love doing even today. And it gives me great pleasure to still be at the helm of the club, even though right this minute we are not doing too well. The reason is, 5 years ago, we voluntarily came down into the lower leagues because we couldn't afford to stay in the Premier, because we used to get in players all the way from Kisumu, Busia, even from Uganda. Our goalkeeper called Keith used to come all the way from Uganda, and some guys used to come from Mombasa. It was a very expensive affair. We had to pay a lot of money, I mean, transportation, and we had to put them up here for a couple of days. And the union was kind at the time. Sometimes they'd allow us to play 2 matches over a weekend, and it carried on. And then one fine day we sat down with a piece of paper and a pen, and we realized that within 3 years after going back into the Premier League, we had spent 1.8 million Kenya shillings.
Ooh.
And then we thought, uh-oh, where is this money going to come from? So it was not easy to fund that team. So we had to come down. Now all of the boys that play at karate pay for their own fares and stuff. We do a little bit. We find them hockey sticks and balls and stuff and playing equipment, uniforms and stuff, but we do not pay for their bus fares and stuff all the way from, can you imagine how much it cost from Busia to Nairobi? 11 guys used to come from there.
Ooh,
And
that's a lot.
Every weekend we would spend around 65,000 shillings. So it was not possible.
And so okay, sorry, just continue.
No, we sort of voluntarily came into the lower leagues of Kenya Hockey Union, and today there is a serious problem in our country. I think you guys are well aware. Hockey players demand a lot of money because it's not easy for them to say oscillate from school all the way to the playing ground, back to the school or back home, and parents are not willing to go the extra mile for the sport. Hockey is not as popular as it could have been. Football is more popular, but even there we have money problems. Every day you hear Gor Mahia have gone on strike, AFC have gone on strike. So this will keep on happening until we get the corporate world to take part in this. And then also our government, serikali yetu, they need to take a little bit of time off from what they're doing currently and look at our sport. If they give us what we need, Kenya has every kind of athlete, every kind of sportsman. We can take this world by the storm. You better believe it.
Allow me to interrupt Saimo for a bit and take you back the memory lane. Back in the days, how did you guys manage to stay afloat in the league and be able to, play the league with issues? We've heard that, sponsorship was not really a problem then, because remember the likes of Barclays for the ladies, Blue Eaglets rather, let me call it that way. We had Blue Eaglets. Breweries was there, which again split into several clubs, and of course many other clubs. How then were you able to attract sponsors?
At karate we are at Karate Axiom. Everybody paid for their bus fares. They had cars. They were earning reasonable salaries. People used to work hard at the sport. At that time, money wasn't a serious problem. So those players in those days, they were pretty, you might say, affluent, and they were able to afford to play the sport. But then gradually it drifted. Now this may sound, I don't want to use that word, this may sound a little racist, which I am never going to be or never was. As soon as the Indians that we had at the club started departing for greener pastures to go and study outside the country to educate themselves further, we started playing with local boys. And local boys thought, muhindi ako na pesa mingi, kwa hivyo sisi hatuna kitu, so they will pay for us. So this is why we eventually had a problem. And believe me, some of those guys, we even found them jobs, which was not easy. And then when they got jobs, they didn't want to pay. They still wanted us to sponsor them. So it's been a hard fight, guys. It's been a hard fight. But we're still around, and we will keep doing this for the sport no matter what. It's my dream that one fine morning I wake up and I have 100 million Kenya shillings. I will build a hockey stadium and sponsor the Kenya Hockey Union to go one better.
Yeah, what you've said is true. I've had a discussion with someone at the club level, and he always says that the clubs take young players while they are still at school. They support them, uh, give them an opportunity to play, and even some go ahead and find them jobs, or they at least they support them until they get to a position where they get a job on their own. But once
Indeed.
they get that job, it's like they forget all about the club. They forget that they
Yes.
received that support from the club. They received that the
Yes.
club supported them in terms of fares, in terms of meals. Sometimes even when the players got sick, they had a club member coming in to support them, and they
Indeed.
most,
Indeed.
yeah, we've seen most players do that. But is it lack of passion, or is it that it was just an
A
interest
stepping
for the
stone.
moment, a
A,
stepping
a
stone?
stepping stone, and there is very little loyalty amongst players here. Very little
Hmm.
loyalty. Yes,
Yeah.
and once they start earning, they will go to the club of their choice. And you know, also there is this attraction. For example, if you go to Sikh Union, they have a clubhouse, which we never did.
Mhm.
So there are facilities, and we were always renting facilities. We used to play at Jamhuri High School. We had to pay a lot of money to hire that pitch. From there, we moved to Arya Girls High School, where luckily we were fortunate, and sort of we met some people who said, "Okay, you don't pay us anything at all, but you keep the pitch in good shape, and don't misbehave on the hockey field." Because there are school children there. So we were lucky there. But earlier we had to actually pay a lot of money to Jamhuri High School for playing there, for using their facilities. And then some of these players obviously went to Sikh Union. They would go to Nairobi Gymkhana, who have a clubhouse. We were always fighting this. It was
Mm.
never easy, but we still managed to beat these two teams. Nairobi Gymkhana and Sikh Union in particular, we sort of felt, you've you've quit on us, you've disappeared, no loyalty, but we will come back and beat you. And we used to actually beat
Mm. Mhm.
That's
Yeah,
why
you've
Simon and I at 40 will come and join you.
them. Thank you very much. This is really nice. We need loyal people.
yeah,
And fighters too.
we still have 20 more years to go to get to 40. But
Oh,
Simon,
that's
speak for yourself.
lovely. That's lovely.
but you've mentioned something about the government, as well as the union, in terms
Yes.
of viewing this sport and taking it up to the next level. What are some of the things that need to happen so that we can
Um,
get to the next level? Because from what I've heard, is like some of the struggles we are currently facing, you faced them during your time in the youth setup.
we have just one serious problem. We lack infrastructure. We have just one hockey field at the hockey stadium, the City Park Hockey Stadium, and it's dilapidated. We need to renew it. We have one at Sikh Union Club, which is also not a new pitch, it's a second-hand one, but it'll make do for a while. So in the whole of this country, we only have two pitches. Compare that to South Africa, compare that to Egypt, compare that to Uganda, compare that to Holland, compare
Mhm.
that to India, Pakistan even, compare that to Germany, to Australia. They have literally pitches even in their own backyards. So if
Mm.
you have infrastructure, you see, ever since the sport changed to artificial grass, the surface is a very expensive surface to play on. Ever since that happened, we are always lagging behind because we don't have that surface. Our children, our ladies, and our boys get to play at the hockey stadium after the age of about 12, 15, and you're competing against players who are literally born on those surfaces. So we really need infrastructure. That's one. Two, we need, like I said earlier, the corporate sector of our part of the world must come out and sponsor the sport. In fact,
Mhm.
hockey is the first sport to put Kenya on the world map. They were playing in Melbourne in 1956, our hockey team. That's our first participation in the Olympics. And it was a great event. And Kenya became known as a sporting nation and a hockey nation from that time. So, I mean, hockey really put Kenya on the world map. And we were at one stage as good as number 4 in the world. In 1971 World Cup, Kenya finished 4th. And it didn't take off. And we had, in those days, we had politicians who didn't give too much, didn't care about hockey too much. Even today, it's the same. Our politicians are more keen on football. But that is not to say they are totally to blame for this. Even at the union level, we perhaps trust government too much to help us, and we do too little to go and find the money ourselves. To get sponsorship has never been easy. Barclays were lucky. Sikh Union never had a problem. They had their own clubhouse, and the membership were able to pay, and neither Gymkhana, all of these big clubs. But most of the other clubs, for example, look at Wazalendo today. They are having a real hard time, but they are struggling. But they manage. But it's not easy. Look at Kenya Police, for example. They have sponsorship. Okay, so we cannot compete against them. Every player wants some allowance, wants some money to play, and they will rather go to the Kenya Police team rather than Karate Action, where they have to pay their own bus fare.
Yeah. Yeah. Before I throw the ball back to Jogush so that he can talk about the Olympics,
Yeah.
we know that we have those struggles as you've stated. We need the pitches to be done, and surely there must be something that we can do at the moment to help us start that journey towards getting better situations. Because what we know is that African governments, including our own government, they only take interest where they see that there is a sprout, or there is something coming up. For example, we saw rugby; they had their own internal issues, but somehow
Yes,
they
they
were
did.
able to sort it out, and the government took keen interest in them. And since then, rugby has never been the same. So, as hockey, as a sports fraternity, what do we need to do at our own level before we engage the government?
I believe we all need to get together on this. We need to start trusting one another. At the union level, we need to sit down and say, look, we are at rock bottom in every aspect of the game. We were even beaten by Uganda a few months ago. And we used to run up scores like 10-0 against that team. So we need to first accept that we are at a very low level. After that, we also need to look at our bank balances. We need people who will say, okay, I will say contribute 10,000 shillings from my own pocket. If we put our own house in order, if we are seen to be doing things like we can do and we don't, then I'm sure the government will step in.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. I want us to switch gears and remember, if you have any question for Lal, you can just comment on the comment section and we'll get to read it out for him. And so, Lal, when did you first make an appearance in the national team?
Well, this is a funny story. I was selected to play for Kenya in 1975. We went to play in the Indian Gold Jubilee celebrations. This was a tournament held in Madras. It was an invitation, and we arrived there because we were invited there, actually, because it was 50 years the Indian Hockey Federation had been playing. I mean, it was their Golden Jubilee celebration event. So I got selected to play there, but unfortunately, I tore a muscle in my thigh when I was in India. So I didn't play for longer than 15 minutes, and there was a match that I limped along. I played against France. We beat them 2-0. Think about that. And I was limping part of the way. And that's how good we used to be in those days. But then I came back to Kenya. I tried to make the national team to get to the Montreal Olympics. I was dropped, and not because I deserved. It's because I was rightfully dropped. You guys understand that I must tell you this. It may sound a little strange, but I was never athletic, you might say, endowed with, say, for example, the speed of Kipchoge Keino, or for example, you
George
know,
Mutira.
yeah, for example, okay, George. So I was
Yeah.
a little bit a heavy set guy, so I had a problem recovery on the field. I had all the skills that you needed. I was a good penalty corner man, but I wasn't good enough to be in the Olympic team. But that then, you might say, it sowed the seed of my ambition to get to the Olympics as a hockey man, no matter what. So I decided to coach. Took a long time being invited to start coaching. I started coaching in 1986, and slowly it wasn't easy even as a coach, as well as you know this, that we had opposition from every corner. There were coaches invited from outside the country for the 1988 Olympics, and then they didn't measure up, and then they were dropped. So, and of course, merciful God always pays you if you work hard. So I really worked hard at it, and then
So
I got rewarded.
good.
It wasn't
So when
easy.
did you? Good. So who do you remember playing alongside those days?
We had super hockey players in those days. For example, if you remember Sujit Rehal.
No, Simon and I cannot know them. I'll be very
Okay,
honest.
Sujit
Yeah,
Rehal,
we
Davinder Deegan. We had, for example, you might remember Tobias Odur.
Yes.
yeah.
Tobias Odur came from Kisumu, played for Karate Axiom Hockey Club. I was dropped for the 1973 World Cup. Tobias Odur was selected, and he was playing for me. How about that? So those are the kind of players I played along with. You must remember the icon of hockey, Aftar Sohal, Tari.
Simon and I are hanging there.
Yes,
Yeah.
Tari. You remember Tari?
No.
Aftar Sohal. He was
No.
recently on the Union Club by
Yeah.
Yes,
I
yes,
remember.
yes.
Madam Amina. Yes.
Yeah.
I played alongside him, and players like Santok and players like there's a lot of players who in those days those players were 30% better than I was. So I learned all the finer nuances of the sport from those guys.
Let me ask before Njugush takes over. What happened? Because we have like a generational gap. For example, you see Njuguna and I, we are like trying to scan our brains to see whether we don't know those names. How come there is this generational gap? Because I'm sure we are not the only players or former hockey players who don't know about such legends.
I believe what's actually happened is, in fact, the president, Bonarendiek, is working on some history of hockey in the country. He's really working hard, and I'm assisting him. We are trying to bring up a system where that generational gap is covered. All of the time, people disappeared from the scene, and then all of a sudden, people retired from playing hockey, and then they were not taken care of, and then there was a serious gap during that period. Now we need to cover that. Some of the people don't even know me. It's just I'm just lucky that I'm still around, and if you compare me with the icons of hockey in this country, I fall flat on my nose in that regard. Even though I'm really pleased to be here with you guys, but consider this: Aftar Sohal has played at 4 Olympic Games. He was in the Guinness Book of Records for having played the maximum number of matches. He was the coach of the national team in the 1984 Olympics. He was the coach of the team in the 1973 World Cup. So, I mean, you know, there is need for us to go into history and bring about a book, which I'm now doing, so that we can show our people, our young people, people who do not know what happened during that transitional period. They will then read these books and they will acquire the knowledge.
Yeah.
Let us get into the comments, Simon. I know there are quite a few. If you can pull them up, because on the end I can't.
Okay. Yes, Alvin Wesonga says Lal, much respect. And then he ameinua mikono hapo, so he's giving you that respect. Thank you, Alvin, for watching. I'm right there with you. Glad to hear from you, legend. That is from Tom. He continues to say that those players who joined karate were not good enough to be in Sikh Union. Is that true?
I would agree with that. It's like, for example, if you have Zinedine Zidane, he will not play for example, West Ham when Real Madrid is chasing. That's obvious.
Yeah, but in this context, we can say he cannot play for Manchester United.
Well,
considering that back then karate was still a big club.
If we bring in Alex Ferguson back to the club, I think he will go there.
Okay, good one. And then Zach is saying, "My coach, good to see you. The pep talks you gave me were really good. Be blessed."
Zach, one of my favorite hockey players. Yeah, the young man had a lot of respect for me. I'll tell you a little story. We had a player called Clifford Endo. And Clifford Endo purchased a leather jacket for me. And then when Zach went to play in Italy, he gave it to Zach to present it to me. I still hold it in my wardrobe as a prized possession. It's like a hockey trophy. I mean, you know, these boys, they are like family to me. I love them and they love me right back. And it wasn't easy to get to them, to get to them like that. They are family because whatever I could do for them, not just hockey, even personally, I did. And they respect me for that. And I appreciate this. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Jugusha, I'm seeing something here. I'm seeing that we need to do a production of like a documentary of legends, and then have
that has been in our to-do list for a very long time. I think
yes, we should do it. Otherwise, time is running out, and God has been gracious to us. Oliver Marks, the president of Mombasa County Hockey Association, says, "I totally agree with Mr. Lal that we are desperately lacking in hockey infrastructure in Kenya. Each country should have an astro pitch. In Mombasa, if we get a plot, I'm sure we can get corporate support to put up an astroturf pitch." Very true struggles that Mr. Lal has mentioned there. We all need to continue with the fight. Yeah.
That's true. Oliver is one of our very serious hockey umpires, and he's now at the helm of hockey at the coast. I wish him good luck, and he's so correct in this matter. I believe not just in every province, we should have hockey pitches even in schools if possible. Okay, it's easier said than done, but we really need to work together. We're nearly doing this. Every time we get to an interview like this, or we sit down together, we all say we know the problem, but we are not able to, for some reason, find the solution. And I believe the solution is that we, no matter how little, we all need to contribute. We all need to go with a begging bowl. In fact, the next time there's a hockey tournament at the hockey stadium, I'm going to go with a begging bowl, request spectators to put in their little bit, even if it's 100 shillings. We need the money. So once we collect money, and I'm sure there are people here willing to go the extra mile to support hockey. They loved hockey when Kenya were right at the top. Today, they still do. I get phone calls from outside the country. People are asking me what happened. And some of them are serious hockey players of the past. And I'm sure if we can contact them, they will be able to fund us some way or another. At least perhaps have our team playing, say, in Canada, for example, or in the States. That can happen. We must put our heads together. It's blame letting is never going to help.
Yeah, true.
To go and say, oh, the union has done nothing. Oh, the government has done nothing. No. That is not what I am saying. All I'm saying is let's work together. Let's put in the hard work. There is a solution somewhere in this.
Yeah. True.
Now,
Alvin continues. Sorry.
Go on. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, Alvin continues to say that we are a shadow of our glorious past. I feel for Kenyan hockey. And then we have Tom who's saying that as Kenya Hockey Union affiliates, that is Kisumu, Nairobi, Mombasa, Nakuru, Kakamega, Kiambu, etc., are you making any effort to influence the county government's budgetary allocations to include setting up infrastructure for hockey in the regions? And that goes back to our discussion about seeking support from the government, and we need to supplement that with our own money as well as the corporate sponsorship. And one thing that we need to probably have a look at, and I've mentioned it in this show a couple of times, Jugush, you're aware of this, is that we need to start now having those partnerships. It's not necessary that those partnerships guarantee cash, liquid cash, but at least they guarantee some benefits that can go a long way to assist in hockey. For example, we have over 7 universities in Nairobi alone. What if we work with them, because they have the grounds? What if we work with them and have an AstroTurf in those universities and tell them that?
Idea.
Yeah.
And
for example,
that would be a great start. And then, for example, I still remember the good old days. I'm not sure it happens now. Crown Paints used to sponsor AFC Leopards. I remember that. And then I don't know what happened, whether they do, they still do. So we need to approach companies like that. We need to tell them, look, this is sport. You will get your advertisement bid. You will sell more paint. We will do our hockey properly. And I'm sure they will do it. The only thing is the approach, for example. We need to form a committee, which is existent actually at the union level, but we need more active guys who actually go. For example, we go to the Kenya Post and Telecommunications, or Telcom rather, say, look, we need some help.
Yeah.
Okay. And so we go to Brookside Dairies, for example. Our current president owns that setup. I'm sure they can sponsor us.
Yeah. True. Yeah. So if we do those partnerships, for example, the other day Jugushi was speaking and saying, if you look at City Park, it needs some renovation. What if you just approach a company and tell them, we don't want you to give us cash. We have a lot of paint companies coming up, like Mr. Lala said. Just
Vasco
approach a paint
Paints.
company. Approach them, tell them, can you do a renovation painting for us for this building or the entire City Park? Have all your banners and stuff set up probably for the next 3 or 4 years. It's still something positive for us, because at the moment we know that people are struggling for cash. Some companies are struggling for cash, and the good thing is that at least the government has become lenient on sponsorships and such. So there's also a rumor. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt. Yes.
Yeah, there is also this rumor going around that the government is broke and won't be able to support international events for sports. So I think as much as we are getting government support, we also need to find a way to get supplementary support in terms of sponsorships, and as well as come up with strategies that allow that. Nyugushu has been Yeah, we've
You know,
been
Simon,
speaking here about allow. Yep.
yeah.
Sorry,
You know,
continue.
Simon, right this minute, this is a post-COVID era. We've all had a really bad time. No business, nothing. It's beginning to sort of resurface now. I'm sure companies are willing to go the extra mile to assist hockey,
Yeah.
but what we really need is a proper blueprint. We need. We can even go to the International Hockey Federation, for example. The current president is an Indian, and his name is Dr. Batra. If we can approach him, and India have always been very good to us as regards to sending their teams to play here. You know, that's how we can get them involved. I'm sure there are second-hand pitches in India that they will be willing to give to us for the time being for schools and colleges, and slowly we rebuild. I'm sure we can do that. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. True. Njugush, are you there, or
Yes, I
should I
am.
continue? Okay.
No, no,
Okay.
I'm there.
Back to you.
Lal, even as we just bring this to a close, what is the one memorable thing when it comes to your appearance in the Olympics?
As regards to my appearance or our national team's appearance?
We
Your
can say
national
both.
team appearance.
We can
Yeah.
say both. let's
Yeah,
have both.
for me, it was a dream fulfilled.
Mhm.
Get to the Olympics at the sport that I played all my life, that I loved, that I grew up in, and it was my dream to be at the Olympics one day and rub shoulders with the world's best. Imagine there were only 12 teams participating,
Mhm.
and the Olympic motto, participation and not winning all the time, is important. And I was there, and each team had only 20 people playing and coaching and stuff like that. So you are amongst the 250 odd people, the top 250 odd people in the world at that sport. It was a fantastic feeling. Nothing replaces that feeling. Whoever's been to the Olympics, no matter how little they did, no matter they finished tailenders, but there's no greater feeling, there's no greater pleasure than to be able to say, yes, I have been to the Olympics. It's a great honor, and it's also a godsend. And it's not just hard work, like I said earlier. Merciful God must allow you a few things here and there, a little bit of ice, so you get to the Olympics. Once you do that, it's fantastic. But the one particular area, I mean, the one particular, you might say, uh, seriously good memory is we were playing Holland in the qualifying rounds,
Mhm.
and we went 2 goals down.
Mhm.
And then we had a penalty stroke awarded to us.
Mhm.
And all of the senior players refused to take the penalty stroke. People who had trained seriously, people like Eliudo Koth, people like Peter Okatsa, even the late Chris Otambo, they looked at me and they said, Coach, no, Atuendi. So we put in a youngster called Indrajit Matharu. So he goes up and he scores. And it was a wonderful game. We only lost 2 goals to 1. And imagine that's Holland we are talking about. No mean feat that. It was a great
Yeah.
pleasure to be part of that team.
Yeah.
Wow, that's nice. Before you give us your parting shot, I know Saimo has some news updates for us. Saimo, probably we can get into it.
Yes, we have some very interesting news this week. Njugush, it has been a very eventful week. The Masters League, the Masters tournament series, KHU announced it recently, and they are doing a good thing. They are working out on how they can also live stream the event live through their social media handles. So the Masters League will be played between the 9th and 10th of July. That should be a weekend. I think the league is also taking a break. It should be the first leg, between the first leg and second leg break, although some teams have started playing their second leg matches. The registration is 5,000 shillings. So the age restrictions, or is it the qualifying ages, are ladies over 35 and men over 40. So Njugush, how far off are you for
I'm
you to
um,
participate?
I'm 2 years shy.
Mhm.
I know
I'm
you
sure
can't say
we'll
yes.
I know I have 20 more years to go, so
Yeah.
I have 20 more years to go. But
Lal, are you taking part in the Masters tournament?
Actually, I learned about this a couple of weeks ago, and I am actually seriously doing some training work. I might end up at the stadium. You guys come and watch me play.
Good stuff.
nice.
Good
We'll be
stuff.
there.
And you
We'll be
know,
there.
there is a Masters World Cup in the offing. I think it's going
Yes.
to take place in South Africa fairly soon.
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm hoping that our team can qualify for that. It'll be wonderful.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
I know. There was a recent tournament regarding the Masters League. This I think was in the UK. There was
Yeah.
a sort
Yeah.
of European tournament.
A Euroleague.
And
Yeah.
I know. Was it
Yes.
Wales which won the tournament? I may be wrong.
Mm.
It was
I,
really nice.
yeah. Yeah.
Mm, yeah, yeah, good. Simon, any other news updates?
Yes. This next we have the Blades team was mentioned. So we have a team of 18 ladies that was called by or mentioned by the president, the KHU president, Colonel Nashon Randiek. He listed out this team as we can see on screen. And Jugush, this team has caused a bit of debate on the social media space as well as the online platforms. Some calling out saying that some players deserve to be on that list, some players did not deserve to be on that list. What are your views on this, Jugush?
You're putting me on the spot, huh? But it's
Yeah,
good. My
since your
lights are
camera
Well,
fire.
is
go ahead
off,
and
that's
stick.
why
You stick your neck out. Yeah.
Mm,
I think it's a fairly good squad. Of course, I would
mm,
want some people to move up, but nonetheless, I believe everyone there qualifies to be there. Uh, I want to believe by merit. If
mm,
not, then I think then there are questions that need to be answered. But pertaining the noise that has been going around, I think the union just needs to come out clearly and say what is going on. Especially, I've noticed the story has moved away from the 18
yeah,
squad and the reserve, and it's gone to the team of the officials who are traveling.
mm,
And those who are not traveling, it's not certain, because you and I as a journalist know that you have to get an official letter
yeah,
pertaining it. That's why
mm,
none of us has made noise or rather talked about it, right?
yeah,
Because yes, we have had things, but we are waiting to hear what officially has happened. So nonetheless, I think, yeah, it's good. At least for the first time, the ladies are being represented in an international tournament. Am I wrong,
mm,
Lal?
No, this is not the only time we've played. Prior
Okay.
to this, we've played well within Africa. We've done well, but at that level, this is a super achievement. And
Yeah.
can I come in on this, guys? Can I
yes,
comment on
yes,
Yes.
on what you just said about the media saying stuff about how the team was selected and so on?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Well, it's my opinion that if you have a coaching setup and if you have a selection committee, then they will do the best they can under the circumstances. They will produce, they will name a team which, according to them, is the best. But there will always be complaints. For example, let me give you an example of what happened in the 2002 World Cup. I'm talking about football now. I'm derailing this. Do you
mm,
remember Romario from?
yeah,
Yes.
He was dropped by the coach then, Scolari,
Mm-hmm.
mm,
for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole of Brazil went up in arms against Scolari, but he went with the team and he actually won the World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
So without Romario, Brazil won. So it's not always true that if you and I get together and say, oh, no, this player doesn't deserve to be on the team, and yet the selection committee and the coaches pick the team, it's always a good idea to give them a chance before we start castigating or talking about how the performance is going to be. We must get together and say, guys, these are our ladies. These are the best we produce. Okay, let them go, perform. Let's pray for them. Let's be with them. Let's wish them good luck rather than sort of create obstacles and start saying, oh, no. If I were selected and somebody was to say I wasn't good enough, my performance is going to go halfway down. That's my opinion.
And before I go to the next, sorry, Njugush?
We need to give them a benefit of doubt.
Yes, true.
And show them support.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
And before I go to the next bit of news, Mr. Lall, if you were to go with those girls or have the chance to speak with them in the changing room or in the dressing room, what would you tell these ladies ahead of the tournament?
Well, that's a difficult one, but let me try. As a coach, as a fatherly figure, as someone who's been in the sport all his life, what I would say to the girls is this is a lifetime opportunity. They must make the best use of it. They must market Kenya. They must go and show absolute discipline. They must fight for the nation, Kenya and Africa as a whole. And then they must show that discipline on the field as well and be patriotic. Be proud to be wearing the national colors. And then fight till the last minute. Never give up on the hockey field. Never do. Be like the Germans. That's what they do. When they play any sport, they will fight until the last minute. That is what I would tell the girls.
Awesome. You're almost making me feel like I want to travel with them and echo those sentiments. So Njugush, Njugush, we should start taking boda bodas all the way to Birmingham.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. As you can see there was a hockey fives tournament that was held by the MCHA in conjunction with Daikyo Motors. Kenya Police won. So I'm not sure whether this photo I have is for Kenya Police B or for Kenya Police A.
That's
but
B.
I'm just going to say that Kenya Police won since they took all trophies home. So congratulations.
They're policemen, remember?
Yeah, they are policemen. So let's not say A and B. So Kenya Police won the tournament. So ideally position 1 and 2. And it was good to see MCHA do this. MCHA are the most active county hockey association in the country. They do a lot, and congratulations to them.
Indeed, yes, we must do that for them. Yes,
and I know their hockey circuit is back this weekend at the Adams Sports Club.
Yeah.
So it's good to see some very good hockey activity happening down there.
Yeah. So, Njugush, you'll allow me to extend this a bit.
Okay.
Because I'm seeing some very good comments that I think Lal needs to respond to.
This one
Nairobi.
Needs to talk about it.
Yes, Nairobi Hockey Association will be holding their AGM on 3rd of July. I remember that it was called off last time because of, I think, a lack of quorum, if I'm not wrong. So this is an elective AGM. Let me start with Mr. Lal, and then we have Njugush for the response or comments.
Sorry, well, I didn't hear that.
I'm asking in terms of what's your view on these elections for NHA? They were called off, I think, last time because of a lack of quorum, and then now we have the elective AGM on 3rd of July. So what are your views on this? Why is Nairobi struggling, and yet it has a lot of clubs?
I am not sure exactly what's up there right this minute. I used to be the chairman of Nairobi Hockey Association. I resigned from there about 4 years ago. And Tom Olal was the secretary. And we had Joseph Penda, who became the president. Exactly what is going on amongst those people at this present moment, I have no idea. But lack of quorum in Kenya in hockey is nothing new. There are meetings we hold. You know, it's people will say, "Oh, there was so much traffic, I couldn't make it," as if they didn't know that there will be traffic when they leave their office at 5 o'clock. There are some people who have taken positions at the union and NHA simply because they want to flaunt their, you know, it's like they do not put in enough hard work. They're late at meetings are bored, and this is what happens. You take a position in the Nairobi Hockey Association, you fulfill your duties. Come to the meetings. Why should there be a lack of quorum? People will call you at 7 o'clock and the meeting starts at 6:30. They will say, "Oh, hakuna matatu." "Oh, mimi nimekwama, gari yangu iko na puncture." Now, what kind of attitude is that? And we are all senior people, all adult people. We need to take positions and do justice to them. I believe this meeting should have never been aborted, because I remember when I was the chairman, not a single meeting was aborted. And Tom Olal, who was then the secretary, I don't know if he's still holding that post, he was a very efficient secretary. He's one of those guys who'd be there before everybody else. Yeah.
Someone is asking on on our social media pages. His name is William Mudamba. He's saying, "Are you planning to come back to the leadership anytime soon?"
I have been asked this a couple of times by some of my colleagues and some of the people that I've worked with, including Tom Olal. I am at age 73. You might say I do not have the energy that I had 10 years ago, but because of the way things are being done right this minute, I get this madness going through me to go back to hockey like I used to do. Like, for example, today I drove all the way to Makueni from Thika Greens, and I'm still not back home. If I can do this 7-hour drive, I'm sure I can do a little bit at hockey. And I may just want to speak to these guys and say if they can, if they have some place for me in Nairobi hockey, because Nairobi hockey was the top association. I mean, within Kenya, they always had super tournaments, super events, and we were always doing so much better. Today, it's a white elephant. I don't know what's happened. I really would like to go back. Yes, I may just want to do that.
Okay, good. Okay. I believe William and the Nairobi Hockey Fraternity has been answered.
Yeah, so to some comments, we have Ajitipal. You know, as a Kikuyu, it's difficult for me to mention this name.
That's a pretty good pronunciation. That was a pretty good pronunciation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he says, "Love you, Dad. Proud of you. Karate for life." There you go.
That's my son. That's my son. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, my son. I appreciate
when we
this.
grow up, more.
When we grow up.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and then Amit is saying, GS Lall, we need to meet for a grass. Kikuyu ndio hiyo grass. A glass of lassi.
Yes, indeed. We used to. You know what lassi is? Lassi is curd, maziwa lala. After training, we used to go to Ngara and drink some maziwa lala with sugar inside. It's an energizing drink. I used to take these boys to Ngara. There's a hotel called the Durga Hotel. We used to have lassi there every Sunday.
Yeah.
And thank you, Amit. Appreciate this. I'm happy you still remember that lassi.
Yeah, so we are going to hold him to his word. Make sure that you take a photo and then you send it to us. We are going to put it in the news section.
Yeah, why not?
We are going to make sure that we put it in the news section that
Yeah,
Amit
sure.
took a hockey legend to have some lassie.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, I'm looking for another comment here. I think I've lost it. Let me see. Let me see. Yeah, we have another one here. Uh, yeah, Matt is saying that so proud of you, Dad. Thank you for all you did for Kenyan hockey. Yeah.
Thank you too. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate this. You
Mm,
know, I am actually greatly honored to be on the air like this, and it's a pleasant surprise, really. All of these comments come. I mean, this is really fantastic. I didn't, uh, in the wildest of my dreams, think that these boys still remember me. You know,
mm,
it's
mm.
really beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Um, so there's a question here to you from Tom. He's asking, what about reviving Kenyan hockey in primary schools?
Uh, I have always had that question asked. We need to go to primary schools. We need to go to secondary schools, universities also. We need to spread our wings. We need the union to put together a system where, for example, are attached to primary schools, and some of the teachers be brought to the union. I mean, to the hockey stadium, and courses conducted. I think they're doing it, but it hasn't taken root. That's the problem. So we all need to, like I said earlier, we need to work together. So we need to put this into shape, and then the trajectory takes a different shape.
Hmm. Amazing. We have a comment here from Sangalo who's saying, Lal, what a legend. The Hockey Union is in a monumental, catastrophic, cosmetic. The English is too difficult for me here to say, but let
Yes.
me just read what I can.
Yeah,
Lal,
sure.
what a legend. The Hockey Union is a monumental, a catastrophic, cosmetic situation because of leadership. Inner politics is killing the beautiful game in the country. Our leagues is nothing to write home about. Our national teams are in a mess. The home-based players are nothing to write home about. We need the union to cooperate with a broad league to cooperate with the broad leagues unions for our players to get exposure at least. Hockey, he says he's a hockey legend.
Simon, let me say this. This gentleman is definitely concerned about the state of our hockey, and these are the people who love the sport so much they go and speak their minds. It is really beautiful for someone to say all of this, and it's very honest. All I can say in this regard is, for example, the current president is doing all he can. But that's not to say he cannot do any better. He can. But where I believe we all go wrong is they say, there is a saying in English, those who can do, others criticize. So can I request this gentleman to pitch up at the stadium one fine day, meet me, and we can have a chat together, and he can give us some ideas as to what we can do, what the current union can do, and we can put forward all the suggestions. Because at this moment, like he says, we are in the ICU. That's what he's implying, which is true. I said that earlier. You get beaten by Uganda, we are in trouble. So now we want to come out of that ICU. We want to go to the high dependency unit. So please ask him to come to the stadium. Can I read my cell number out so those who do not have it can call me? 0727 745957. I'll repeat that, 0727745957. Please call me, and I'll be willing to meet up with you guys and take a whole bunch of notes down and then present it to the union and say, look, let's do this. We can all get together. Everybody who means well for the sport needs to come in on the act.
Mhm.
That's the only way we can go back to the glory days.
Mm. Yeah. And then finally we have Zach, who says, "Thanks for the trophy you gave me, coach. I did the same thing to a young guy and he appreciated it."
Thank you too, Zach. I didn't know I'm going to be able to talk to you on the air like this, but believe me, you're one of my really pet players, so to speak. And I wish we could have had you, Kuli, Clifford Endo, a whole bunch like that, where we could get together and this was a genuine bunch of people who loved the sport, who would go out of their way. Uh, there's something I need to tell you guys. This is not going to sound very good.
Okay.
When I used to coach the national team, I was very abusive towards the players I coached. And I don't want to use the word, but it's a word that means really. I mean, it's a bad word to use at any one time to any hockey player. So we were in Cagliari in Italy. So after a match, we got all these little girls and boys coming up for autographs. They want us to sign their hats, their little pieces of paper, whatever. And then I am sitting at the far end. So the guys start signing from that. And every player signed that bad name on that paper, whatever was presented. So these kids come up to me and say, "Hey, what is this?" So I asked the guys, why are you doing this? And he said to me, "Coach, that's what you call us." So I had to send, so I had to send them back for them to sign their names good and proper. But you see the kind of rapport, the kind of love these guys had for me. I miss it, really. I miss that. And I'm sure they miss my flowery language also.
Yeah. And unfortunately nowadays you can't call players such names, because otherwise the next training session you'll
Well,
be
I tell you
allowed.
what, Simon. I tell you what. If I were to start coaching again, that language is the language of winners. I can tell you. All of these softies who cannot take abuse don't make great players. You can ask all of the great players how they were abused, called names, and how they responded positively.
And I know.
You remember Mike? You remember Mike Tyson?
Yes.
Yeah.
You remember him?
Yes.
Yeah, I had chance to actually talk with him one time, many years ago, and his coach used language which was 10 times more foul than mine.
Awesome.
Okay, times have changed. We can camouflage some of those words, but we can get across a message quite clearly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then we
Your
have
final
one.
words. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, Jugush, you still have more comments. I told you today we
Okay.
are going to extend a bit.
Okay.
So yeah, Dad, this is amazing. So proud of you. Love you. That's from Amrit.
That's my youngest daughter. I appreciate that too, Amrit. Thanks for doing that. Thank you for calling in.
And then lastly, we have hockey legend, amazing to date and more to be.
Thank you. Thank you for that too.
Jugush, back to you.
Lal, we could go on and on, but you are on a journey back to Nairobi, so we need to allow
Indeed.
you to get back on the road. And it was nice for that family to allow you to pitch camp there.
Thank you
Because
very much.
you're very concerned when we talked earlier that you're not going to make it, but you have given, you have sacrificed yourself to ensure that
Not a problem. For
share with us.
hockey, anything. I will do anything for the sport. Yes.
Thank you so much. We'll
And
let
thank
you.
you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
We'll let you say your final words before we end the show.
Jagush, I honestly think, as regards to having talent in the sport of hockey, we have plenty of talent. All we need to do is start honing that talent. All we need to do is find the money and no excuses. Find the money, hone the talent, encourage every young lady, every young man to play the sport, assist as much as we can from our own pockets if possible, take them to the next level. Let us not put our people down. Let us not look at others and say, throw stones at glass houses, like they say. Let us work together. Let us agree that we can actually raise the sport back to the glory days, provided we are in this together. And I believe, from what I've said to this evening to people who love the sport, I am hoping there will be a positive response in every way. And my final word to the players, the people who actually mean more than anything else to the sport, I pray and I request them and I urge them to work so hard that they prove every doubting Thomas wrong. That's my ambition, and that's my wish, and that's my prayer to them.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yep. Simon, I
Thank
think
you.
we've gone down the memory lane. Islay was called Islay before.
No,
Yes,
it's
Eastlake.
actually it's
Eastlake.
still called that way.
Eastlake. Yes. I
Let
still
me
call it
give you
Eastlake.
let me give you a short story. Yesterday I was having a conversation with a foreigner, and he was asking me about a certain location in Hurlingham, and then he was asking me, where is that Hurlingham? I told him, Hurlingham, you just go, you can use Valley Road, blah blah blah. No, he's telling me, no, that's not Hurlingham, it's Hurlingham.
That's right. That must have been an American. They say Birmingham.
Yes.
Hurlingham.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had a few arguments, and then I told him, okay, look, that's how I grew up knowing the place is called. So
Yeah.
for the sake of the discussion, I'll just say Hurlingham. So
No more Islay.
yeah, no more
No more
Islay.
Eastlake.
But sasa
Yeah, sure.
unajua shida ukienda pale Koja, uanze kuuliza matatu za Eastlay.
Labda utapelekwa Nakuru.
Nakuru. I saw this meme. I saw this meme on Twitter in the morning. It was so funny.
Yeah.
A lady amebebwa kwa bodaboda, and then
Okay.
she's holding the phone on the boda guy, and then the boda guy is saying, ati Naivas, nilidhani umesema Naivasha, hata tuko nilidhani umesema Naivasha, hata tuko Kimende saa hii.
Well done. Oh, that's beautiful. Well done. Kenyans, we have a sense of humor too,
Yeah, we have a sense of humor. That's correct. Thank you so much, Lal. I've learned
Thanks,
a
guys.
lot. Yeah,
It's been a pleasure. Anytime you're welcome. Whenever you need me for anything in this regard, as regards to hockey,
yeah.
I'm game. I'm with you guys.
Okay, awesome.
And it was a pleasure too from my end.
Yeah, always a pleasure to have you, and we hope to have you on more shows as well.
Thank you.
Yeah,
great. All right. Have a good night. God bless.
Okay.
You
Cheers.
too.
Bye,
God
guys.
bless you.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Yeah, Jugush, that's a wrap. Thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. Remember, you can always follow our pages. That is Hockey Kenya and Hockey K on Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter. Until next week, cheers and bye-bye.